Welcome to the castle, everybody. This is Nightsaber Z42, and this is episode 6 of 8 Petals Argent. Now, a couple things before we actually get started here. I previously recorded the first 5 episodes, all within quick succession, like literally a couple days. And I put out a video once a week for 8 Petals Argent, so it's been a while since I've actually played. And after I released the first episode, I actually didn't have any intention of releasing the following 4 videos, or even continuing the series at all. But I've also been receiving some comments and actually some feedback on this series, and I've decided to go ahead and go through with it. I've kind of been making the push to stray away from Let's Plays, video game Let's Plays rather, into RPG things. Tabletop RPGs, and I've basically left a lot of series in the middle, and I don't want that to be a regular thing here as I push this new thing forward. So I've decided to go ahead and finish this off. Plus, as I was listening and editing the previous 4 videos, I've realized that I actually really do have a lot of fun with this. I like the new editing style that I've taken upon, and I like what I'm doing with this, so I definitely really want to keep up with this. And I'm also going to thank everybody that's been watching these videos and, commenting and even subscribing to the channel. At this point, I'm actually almost at 200 subscribers. I never really would have thought I would have made it this far, and a lot of the subscribers that I've gotten recently have all been from videos, whether it's my Rural 20 tutorials or even just my review videos. So thank you guys so much for supporting this channel and, what I do. It really does mean a lot. So without further ado, let's get into it. Previously, Monterey continues his descent into the mausoleum after defeating a swarm of rats. The portcullis before him prevents a cave-in. There is nothing there, so he is forced to turn back. He continues to explore areas left uncovered until he comes upon a snowflake emblem. Remembering a door with a snowflake symbol, he treks back and opens it. He is greeted by an abominable cadaver. The fight seems to be going his way until he fumbles and hurls his great axe across the room. So, we are going to start right here in the middle of combat. Monterey has just rolled a natural 1, so he is unarmed, which means the cadaver is going to get a turn to move. And I believe the first thing we're going to do is roll the d6 to see if his bloody bile recharges. It does not, so we at least get away from that. It is going to, of course, use its sharpened fingernails to try to swipe Monterey. This actually does hit Monterey, and that's quite unfortunate. So it'll deal 1d4 plus 1 damage. So it deals, wow, really? It rolled a 1 on a d4. It deals 2 piercing damage. And unless you are an elf, the abominable cadaver has advantage on its next gnashing bite against you before its next turn. So this really puts Monterey in a pretty bad pickle here. Luckily, that's just what Monterey needs to make his day really, really bad. Monterey is finally going to rage. He is super mad, like unbelievably pissed off. And so he is going to rage against the cadaver. That means he is going to have advantage on strength checks. When he uses a melee weapon using strength, he gets a bonus to the damage roll, and we have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. So there is that. So let's go ahead. We are going to go ahead and, well, since we don't have our great axe, he's actually going to use his fists to kind of just knock the cadaver out. So we're gonna roll a d20. That will be enough to hit. So we deal strength. Exactly 5 points of damage. And that is actually how much life the cadaver has left. So, what I'm thinking, Monterey begins to basically punch and kick at the cadaver until he has enough momentum to get him going to grab onto the cadaver's head, and he's just gonna squeeze until it pops like a grape. And so there we go. The cadaver is down. The creature dies dramatically. Its fatty pustules give one last throb before the body explodes. The creature's skull spins as it bounces across the floor, and its body parts cartwheel through the air in opposite directions. You take a moment to inspect the aftermath of the battle. You notice that the cadaver's forearm has landed near the eastern archway, where a curtain of power has parted as though in response to the proximity. You approach the arm to inspect it. Blood oozes from the intact hand. Reading the archaic runes above the archway, something clicks in your mind. My blood alone may rest within. By blood alone may pass this stone, the runes say. The blood in this creature's arm must be the answer to the riddle. You kick the forearm away from the passage and the curtain of power descends once more. You feel its mystic force pushing you back from the opening. Deciding this piece of the corpse must be important, you wrap the cadaver forearm in one of the drier pieces of its shredded clothing, and you take it with you. So around the room you are in, alcoves contain 9 standing sarcophagi. Each of these stone caskets has remnants of a coating of paint, faded and cracked. A single sarcophagus is now open, the one in the middle of the northern wall, its lid having fallen forward to disgorge its resident. We can inspect the sarcophagi, although I don't know if we're going to do that. Actually, sarcophagi number 3 is the one that the cadaver came out of, so we could actually inspect that without adding to our time. I'm going to go ahead and do that. This sarcophagus is the one the abominable cadaver sprang from. It holds a dusty plaque that reads Trisketton Deepwinter, and a child's toy, a top for spinning with 4 faces in it can land on. Happy, sad, wrathful, and dead. The copper plaque is worth 5 silver pieces, and of course we will be adding that into our inventory. That makes 5 that we have so far. So there are still 8 more sarcophagus that we can search through. I don't think it's really in our best interest. It's probably best if we actually make haste and, try to find whatever it is that we're trying to look for here. So Monterey is going to skip over the rest of the sarcophagus, and hopefully what we need isn't in one of them. But so far, there really hasn't been much of anything in any of the sarcophagus that we have inspected, so that does lead me to believe that it might just be for flavor, or for getting extra money. In the center of the eastern wall, a tall archway leads out to a hallway. Red runes glow above the arch. In the western wall is a sturdy-looking black iron door marked with the symbol of House Deepwinter, a snow-capped mountain with a large stylized snowflake above and to the left of the mountain peak. Looking directly at this door gives you a sense of unease. Alright, so we can approach the archway or approach the black door. If I remember correctly, we came in through the archway, right? From the east side of the room. So I think we're going to at least inspect the black door. Oh boy. As you approach the doorway, you feel a sense of unease, as though the door itself is a malevolent presence. The iron bears the House of Deepwinter, a snow-capped mountain with a large stylized snowflake above and to the left of the mountain peak. Long streaks of rust reach from the cut lines of the symbol down the bottom half of the door, and wispy lichen grows in the deepest recesses of the carving. Instead of a keyhole, the complex lock on this door has a depression where a precisely shaped item inserted properly allows the locking mechanism to operate. We could bypass the door because we have the snowflake emblem. Let's go ahead and do that. You are in an oddly formed area. The east end of this passage ends at a doorway. A dusty wooden chest sits at the end of the westward passage. A set of rough-cut stairs leads downward to the southwest. 5 catacomb alcoves cut their way into the northern and southern walls of the hallway. There are fewer linen-wrapped skeletons than usual stacked in the last alcove on the right, The remnants of linen rags litter the floor as though someone has cut some skeletons out of the funerary wraps. And we've actually been to this room. So the black door is actually where we've come from. Okay. So that means we would like to go through the archway then. You approach the archway in the eastern wall. Glowing red runes over the door read, "My blood alone may rest within. My blood alone may pass this stone," in archaic common. As you get close, bearing the cadaver's forearm, the shimmering in the air disperses, allowing you to pass through. Alright, so we will, of course, pass the archway. You are in a north-south passageway that has a short turn in it, as though going around something within the stone before continuing north in its original direction. At the turn, there is an archway on the western wall. You can see a large room beyond, but a mysterious force seems ready to prevent you from walking through the empty space. Red runes glow over the archway. So we don't want to go back through the archway, because that will take us back into the previous room. And I really don't want to do that just quite yet. So we can either go north or we can go south. Let's head north first and see where that takes us. Hopefully it's not a dead end, and hopefully it's the actual right way. This north-south passage has doorways to the north and west. The north doorway is at the top of a long set of stairs. Well, I think that's where we want to go. We want to keep going north, so let's head through the door, or at least examine the doorway and see if there's anything that we need. Low tables line the walls of this 20-foot square room. Various tools lie about, the sort used for embalming or for repairing burial shrouds. One table has its tools cleared away. A few sheets of vellum sit there, neatly stacked, as though the table served as a low desk. You have found 3 blank enduring spellbook pages, pristine despite the dust, and 1 more page filled with writing. This is the first page, so we are actually going to go ahead and read that. Parnak Deepwinter, so beloved his blood as to draw boundaries that bar any pretenders who would lie in the same tomb. The arches remain closed, except to let pass a body of Deepwinter, blood carried forth to its final rest. My own I don't know that word, is too tenuous to pass the arch. I have tried these dry bones, now piled here, but they too are not enough to open the arch. Skeletons have not availed me. The blood of the arch's demand must be literal. No fragment nor shard of Deepwinter bones opens the way. I have searched as far as I could through these catacombs and found nothing to suffice. I will let myself out again, back to the surface to hunt. I cannot disappoint him. His house is no more, but its blood must still be out there in some remnant, stronger than my own. I will rise to this challenge as he demands. I will find another far-flung Deepwinter, another long-lost descendant of a nameless byblow, and the arch will open to us. Alright. So that's Monterey, of course, reading as best he can. You know, he never really learned how to read. So that was all that was in the doorway. Wow. Okay. So, we will follow the passage south then. Alright. We are not going south because that's where we came from. That's the north-south passageway with the arch. So instead, we are going to... Oh, we can examine the door to the west. That's something that's pretty new. So let's do that. This 20-foot square room contains the remnants of a mechanical lifting device. A mechanism that once raised and lowered a platform between this level and some area above it. Mortar and stone packed the hole in the ceiling, a result likely achieved by magic. Beneath the former hole, the lifting mechanism remains intact but useless now from rust. The gears no longer spin. The lifting platform, a circular stage 10 feet in diameter, will never rise again. That's interesting. So is it like a stage? Like, you know, a performing stage? That's kind of really weird here in the mausoleum. I'm not gonna lie. So it really looks like there wasn't anything there. So those two ways were kind of a waste, so we'll just go back down, which means we're going to keep going south this time. We'll keep going south since we went all the way north. The north-south passage briefly widens to 20 feet in this location where it intersects with another passage running southwest to northwest. And oh boy, we've actually been in here too. Okay. So then what we really want to do... We'll definitely go back, and this time, well, if we examine the archway, that's gonna take us through the archway, right? Or is this is this a different archway? Well, I guess the only way to find out is to go through it, or at least examine it. Oh. The glowing runes above the arch read, "My blood alone may rest within. By blood alone may pass the stone," in archaic stylized common. Approaching the entry, you feel a growing resistance that will prevent you from entering the room beyond. We do have the event code Deepest Winter, which means we can actually pass. And this takes us back into the original room. So I guess the only thing that we can really do is read or inspect the other sarcophagi. So we're going to spend 8 minutes to actually figure out what's in the sarcophagi, and hopefully that will uncover something, because Monterey really doesn't know where else to go. So sarcophagi number 1. The skeleton in this sarcophagus wears an amulet holy symbol around its neck, a thin chain with a medallion of a skull biting a scroll. A dusty copper plaque reads, "Rality Deep Winter." We will of course take the copper plaque because they're worth 5 silver pieces each, and this will make our 6th one, so that we're going to have 30 silver pieces. Alright. Sarcophagi number 2 reads, "The sarcophagus is empty. Not even a naming plaque within it." Well, that was a waste. We've already read sarcophagi number 3, so sarcophagi number 4 reads, "The skeleton in this sarcophagus is missing its head." A dusty copper plaque reads, "Ivalon Endel Deepwinter." We will of course take the copper plaque, because money is money is money. Alright, sarcophagi number 5. As you begin to slide away the heavy stone door, a diseased rat escapes from it, scampering away. This movement causes a small puff of virulent spores to billow out from the slight opening. Make a constitution saving throw against poison. Yay, my favorite. Alright. We rolled a 19, so we got 23. Alright, so what's in it? You complete the task of removing the door from the face of this sarcophagus, resulting in a heavy deluge of spores. Wow. Well, okay. Another constitution saving throw. I got a 20 this time. On a result of 15 or higher, you are unaffected. Alright, so... give the spores time to settle before inspecting the contents of the sarcophagus. Mold of some kind fills the interior. You find nothing else within. This toxic growth has entirely consumed the corpse. Well, that was quite useless. Thank you very much. Alright, enough of that. Sarcophagus number 6. 2 skeletons rest in this sarcophagus. The plaque reads, "Mia and Sheliria Deepwinter." A shiny mess cake gleams under a layer of dust. Copper plaque number 8. Yippee! Just what Monterey wanted. And then there's also utensils, but we're going to actually take that because it's Electra Mess Kit. It's worth 2 gold pieces. Look at that. Alright, so that one, sarcophagus number 7. The skeleton in this sarcophagus is missing its lower jaw. In the upper jaw, a single golden tooth gleams through the dust. The dirty plaque here reads Cloth Deepwinter. Take that copper plaque and the gold tooth, because the gold tooth is worth 1 gold piece. Sarcophagus number 8. This sarcophagus is empty, not even a naming plaque within it. You take a moment to be sure of your conclusion, feeling around in every corner. Wow, another useless sarcophagus. And the very last one, number 9. Within the sarcophagus, you find a linen-wrapped skeleton. A plaque of dust-covered copper reads Namia Deepwinter. We will, of course, make our 10th copper plaque right here, right now. So we are at a loss of what to do. I remember there being a room that also had an archway. I'm going to look for it on my map. I'm going to add some time to go back to it, if possible. So, the room that I was talking about was the room that had the stage on it. There was a vault room, and we inspected all of the vaults, but there was something really weird about the stage. So I had Monterey go all the way back there. It actually really wasn't that far from where he was, but the time does add up. We are going to inspect the stage because that's the only thing we haven't done. The runes over the stage read, "My blood alone may rest within, my blood alone may pass this stone," in archaic common. Near the stage, you feel a resistance that will prevent you from stepping up on the raised platform. And we have the code Deepest Winter, so that means we can actually progress forward. As you approach the stage, a shimmering haze in the air parts, like an opening gate. You move tentatively through a now empty space, stepping up onto the stage. There is a pulpit and a stairway descending into water. We have not searched the pulpit, so why don't we go ahead and do that? You search the pulpit, discovering a slim box containing a monogrammed antique pen set. It's actually worth gold, so we're going to take that. Then again, it's only worth 2 gold pieces, but still, we're taking it. So now let's go through the stairs. Descend the stairs into brackish water. You descend the stairs at the back of the stage into the water below. The chamber you descend to is about 20 feet square. A flooded space provides only a few inches of air at the rough ceiling. A faint light illuminates the area, spilling through a crack in the northern wall. The crack looks just wide enough for you to squeeze through. Since we're halfling, it better be. Okay, so our torch is going to get extinguished. Let's go ahead and search inside of the water. That'll add to our time, but I mean, we're either gonna accomplish a goal or we're not. So let's search. In the northwest corner of this flooded room, you find a significant pile of bones, some of them animal and others humanoid. You are preparing to dig through the submerged detritus when you see movement behind the pile. A serpent's head slowly rises from behind the bones, its unnatural eyes locking on with yours. There is something unnatural about the eyes of this fat aquatic serpent. The creature moves to strike. This is going to be quite a bit of a weird fight because we are underwater. It does say that the ambient illumination here counts as dim light, so we don't really have to worry about stuff like that. Trying to run is definitely not going to be what saves us. I think we're just going to have to really hope that we can somehow land an attack with our great axe, which means we will be fighting at disadvantage. So I'm going to go ahead and roll for initiative here. Monterey rolls initiative first, and then the whatever monster we are dealing with. And somehow we managed to actually outbeat the undead serpent. on a roll of a 5. So, wow. The serpent, by the way, rolled a 4. So we got very lucky there. So Monterey does get to go first. He is going to definitely, instead of taking disadvantage to attack with our great axe, we're actually going to use one of our javelin. So normally we would gain disadvantage on melee weapon attacks unless we are wielding a dagger, a javelin, a short sword, a spear, or a trident. And we actually do have some javelins, so I'm going to go ahead and attack with the javelin. A 22 is actually going to hit. It's armor class of 14. And we deal 7 points of damage, which is actually not going to do it because this thing has damage resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing, necrotic damage. And so that's going to cut it down to 4 damage. So it's at 3 HP left. Oh boy. It also regains 2 hit points at the start of its turn if it has at least 1. So that means it's going to get to attack, or it's going to have 5 HP. So that's not good. The serpent is going to try to grapple with us. Not with a 2. Sorry, a 4, because I gotta add the bonus. So it tries to grapple, but we managed to actually pull away. So let's attack with our javelin again. A 16 will hit. We deal 3 damage to it. Unfortunately, that's going to mean that it has 4 HP at the beginning of our next turn. It is at 4. It will, of course, try to grapple again. 12 will not hit. It did roll a 10, but a 12 will not succeed. And we will attack, hopefully, one last time. A crit will definitely take this guy out. Yes. That's actually awesome. I really do enjoy that. So we actually managed to skewer the undead serpent. It is dead. We get to proceed on. Thank goodness. I was actually very worried about this combat underwater. You search around the remains of the undead serpent amongst the bones and rubble on the floor of the room. You find a gaming die made of quartz. Intrigued, you take the time to find the other piece of the set concealed by rubble on the far side of the room. That's right, we got quartzite dice set. It's worth 5 gold pieces. I'm definitely taking that damn reward. Alright, and we will of course proceed on through to the north to inch our way through the narrow passage. You enter a flooded rectangular chamber, about 20 feet wide and 30 feet long. It has a shelf in the stone wall at the far end. A blackened corpse rests on that shelf. A long stake pins the body to the soggy pallet below it. Rays of light glimmer off the corpse's right hand, piercing the brackish water. As you approach the north end of the room, these rays of light illuminate threads of darkness swirling through the water. The threads fill the whole room, tracing their way back to the mouth of the burned corpse. A closer examination shows that the corpse was once human. Its shriveled flesh remains, blackened as though the entire body is terribly burnt. The remnants of its heavy robe show similar signs of immolation. Both hands, each of which bears a ring, clutch a shaft of dark material that pierces the corpse's heart. The glowing signet ring on its right hand is undoubtedly the Deepwinter Seal. You have found the object of your quest. It's about time. Alright. You are facing a stone shelf cut into the northern wall of this room, bearing a burned corpse pinned through the heart with a stake. We are going to remove the rings. You loosen the rictus curled fingers from around the shaft in the corpse's heart, slipping both the rings from them. One of these is a simple platinum band with a shield etched onto it. The other is a signet ring that glows with warm light. The stamp is the original symbol of House Deepwinter, a snow-capped mountain with a large stylized snowflake above and to the left of the mountain peak. We have the Deepwinter Seal. We'll also take the platinum ring because it's worth 10 gold pieces. For sure, we are going to leave the shaft inside of whatever this thing is. Monterey does have enough sense to know that vampires can be a very real thing. So we're not going to do that. We're going to leave. You squeeze back through the crack in the south wall. As you bob through the water toward the stairs, you can see by the light of the deep winter seal that you have become entwined in the threads of dark liquid that permeate the water in this flooded tomb. When you haul yourself out of the water, some of this substance clings to you. It seems that your body has even absorbed it, leaving a subtle mesh of lines on one of your arms. The resulting pattern resembles crystalline snowflakes. Your journey into the Primarch's tomb has left its mark on you. You climb off the stage, passing under the red runes of power that ward it, believing you will never need to return. You drop the cadaver's arm that allowed you access to this area, leaving it on a nearby pile of bones. So it seems that we have gained some sort of a charm. So I'm going to look up the lore for this one. We have the Charm of Kinship, which is a minor supernatural gift. The blood of House Deepwinter has infused your body. Centuries of exposure to the clan's undead Primarch have distilled this magical fluid into a potent charm. While you bear this charm, you know the light cantrip, aw sweet ass, which you can cast without providing spell components. You also qualify as having Deepwinter blood for the purpose of magic that detects or reacts to members of that lineage. When you take necrotic damage, it weakens the mystical blood infusing your body. The Charm of Kinship disappears after you take a total of 100 points of necrotic damage, tallied from the moment you receive the charm. You cannot otherwise remove a charm by anything short of divine intervention or a wish spell. That is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. So we're definitely going to add that in our notes here. Finding your way back out of the catacombs is easier than getting in. You've passed through these tunnels often enough to reach the exit in good time. When you've climbed the long rope out of the deep catacombs, it is Rufio who grabs your hand to help you up. Latchboy, Rufio, and Belle are all here. The four of you untie the rope and move the iron grate back into its brick frame in the floor. Then you hand the Deepwinter Seal to your friends. Rufio takes the item and examines it with a look of awe. Aw, I only had the Deepwinter Seal for like 2 minutes. And now it's gone. Well, the platinum ring is mine though. Can't take that from me. After a long minute of congratulations and hugs from your friends, you notice that Rufio is limping slightly. He has a cut down his leg and blood crusts his canvas trousers. Seeing that you've noticed the cut, Rufio waves dismissively, as though it is nothing. Instead of explaining the injury, Rufio describes his new plan for getting out of the City of the Dead. Oh boy. So we're in a bit of a pickle. Okay, so let me explain what I'm seeing here. If we have 150 or fewer interval minutes, it is still dark. If it is near sunrise, it is between 151 and 270 minutes. It is near sunrise. Full dawn is 271 or more interval minutes. We have not quite reached that point yet. We are at 261? 262 minutes. So we are near sunrise. Oh boy, this will be quite enlightening. Get it? Goodbye the day. I have a new plan for getting out of the City of the Dead, Rufio says. We were late for our rendezvous with you here at the House of the Homeless because we had chanced on someone sneaking into the district. We came in through a secret tunnel and we were just lucky to be in the right place to see it. While you were in the catacombs, we explored that tunnel. It goes to an old mortuary just west of the district. Master Revzik's family must have used it when they were grave tenders for the city. If we hurry, we can get out of that tunnel before the mortuary opens for the day. With the plan in place, the four of you leave the House of the Homeless, moving south across a path into the lush area surrounding the Merchant's Rest. You continue south past some large trees, trying to stay out of sight of the west gate. Through the foliage, you see dozens of watch members assembled by that gate, milling about as though waiting for some signal to descend upon the district in force. To be continued.